Dr. Sarah Chen pressed her back against the reinforced metal wall of the research station, her breath forming small clouds in the freezing air. The scratching sounds had returned, louder this time. Sharp claws dragged across the outer hull with deliberate precision, as if something was testing the strength of her shelter. She had been alone on Kepler 442b for 3 months now, conducting atmospheric studies for the Terran Colonial Initiative. The planet showed promise for human settlement, with its dense forests and breathable air. But the locals had proven far more dangerous than anyone back on Earth had anticipated. The werewolf packs had appeared during her second week. Massive creatures standing over 8 feet tall, with intelligence gleaming in their yellow eyes. They moved like shadows through the purple-leafed trees, hunting in coordinated groups that spoke of advanced reasoning. The research team had barely escaped during the first attack, loading onto the emergency shuttle while Sarah stayed behind to protect 3 years of crucial data. Now the scratching stopped. Sarah held her breath, pressing her ear to the wall. Silence stretched for long seconds before a new sound reached her ears. Soft whimpering, barely audible through the thick metal. It sounded almost like crying. She moved to the small observation window and peered through the reinforced glass. Nothing moved in the clearing around her station. The twin moons cast strange shadows across the alien landscape, turning familiar shapes into menacing forms. Then she saw it. A small figure crouched near the base of her shelter. No bigger than a human child, covered in silver fur that shimmered in the moonlight. The creature pressed tiny paws against the metal wall, making soft keening sounds. Blood matted the fur along its left side, and one small ear hung at an odd angle. Sarah's hands trembled as she reached for her sidearm, then stopped. The creature was barely the size of a 10-year-old human. Its movement spoke of pain and exhaustion rather than aggression. She had studied the adult werewolves for weeks through her cameras, documenting their pack behavior and hunting patterns. This was clearly a juvenile, probably lost or abandoned. The little werewolf looked up directly at the window as if sensing her presence. Large golden eyes met hers through the glass, filled with an intelligence that made her chest tighten. Fear flickered in those eyes, but also something else. Hope. "God help me," Sarah whispered, her finger hovering over the door controls. Every protocol demanded she stay sealed inside. The adult werewolves could tear through her defenses given enough time, and she had no way of knowing if this was some kind of trap. But the wounded pup's cries tugged at something deep in her human nature. She activated the external speakers. "Hey there, little one." Her voice echoed across the clearing, causing the pup to freeze. "I can see you're hurt. I want to help, but I need you to understand that I'm not going to hurt you." The pup tilted its head, ears perking up despite the injury. It made a soft chittering sound, almost like a question. Sarah felt her heart race as she realized the creature was actually listening, trying to understand her words. "That's right. I'm talking to you." She kept her voice gentle, the same tone she used with her nephew back on Earth. "You're just a baby, aren't you? Where's your family?" At the word family, the pup's ears flattened against its head. It looked over its shoulder into the dark forest, then back at Sarah with unmistakable sadness. Whatever had happened to its pack, the little creature was completely alone. Sarah made a decision that would have horrified her superiors. She moved to the airlock controls and began the unsealing sequence. The safety protocol screamed warnings at her, demanding authorization codes she ignored. The outer door hissed open and cold alien air rushed into the chamber. The pup backed away from the door, fear overriding its need for help. Sarah knelt in the doorway, keeping her movement slow and non-threatening. "It's okay. I know I must look strange to you, but I want to help. Look." She pulled a protein bar from her pocket and tore off a small piece, tossing it gently toward the pup. The creature sniffed the offering cautiously, then gobbled it down with obvious hunger. Its tail, which had been tucked between its legs, gave a tentative wag. "That's it. I have more food inside and something for those wounds." Sarah fought every instinct that told her to retreat to safety. The pup was clearly starving and badly injured. Without help, it would die alone in the alien wilderness. The little werewolf took a hesitant step toward her, then another. Its golden eyes never left her face, searching for any sign of threat. When it was close enough, Sarah could see the extent of its injuries. Deep claw marks scored its side, and dried blood caked its silver fur. Something had attacked this pup with the intent to kill. "Oh, sweetheart," Sarah breathed, her heart breaking for the small creature. "Who did this to you?" The pup whimpered and pressed closer, finally allowing Sarah to gently touch its uninjured ear. The fur was incredibly soft, and she could feel the creature's rapid heartbeat through its thin frame. Despite every rational thought screaming at her to reconsider, Sarah scooped the wounded pup into her arms. It weighed almost nothing, all bones and matted fur. The pup didn't struggle, instead curling against her chest with a soft sigh of relief. Sarah felt tears prick her eyes as she carried the small creature into her research station, sealing the door behind them. As the airlock cycled closed, Sarah realized she had just changed everything. She was now harboring what the Colonial Initiative would consider a dangerous alien predator. But looking down at the exhausted pup in her arms, she knew she had made the only choice her human conscience would allow. The little werewolf was asleep before they reached the medical bay, its small body finally relaxing in the warmth and safety of human shelter. Sarah gently placed it on the examination table and began gathering supplies to treat its wounds, unaware that her act of compassion would soon reshape the fate of two species. Sarah worked through the night, cleaning and bandaging the pup's wounds with steady hands despite her exhaustion. The little werewolf remained unconscious, its breathing shallow but steady. The claw marks were deep but clean, suggesting they came from another werewolf rather than some wild predator. This realization made Sarah's stomach turn. "Someone from your own kind did this to you," she whispered, applying antiseptic gel to the worst of the wounds. "But why would they hurt a baby?" The pup stirred as she wrapped bandages around its torso, golden eyes fluttering open to focus on her face. Fear flashed across its features, but Sarah spoke in soothing tones until the creature relaxed again. She offered it water from a small cup, helping it drink when its coordination proved shaky. "There we go. You're safe now." Sarah settled into a chair beside the medical bed, exhaustion weighing on her shoulders. "I should probably name you something. Can't keep calling you little one forever." The pup watched her with obvious intelligence, its head tilted in that curious way that reminded her painfully of Earth dogs. When she held up different objects and spoke their names, the creature's ears perked up with interest. It was clearly trying to understand human speech. "How about Luna? You showed up under the moons, and that silver fur of yours catches light just like moonbeams." The pup's tail gave a weak wag at the sound of its new name, as if it understood. Over the following days, Sarah established a routine that revolved around Luna's care. The pup healed quickly, far faster than any Earth mammal would have. Within a week, it was walking steadily and exploring the research station with boundless curiosity. Luna seemed fascinated by every piece of human technology, watching intently as Sarah explained her work. The breakthrough came when Sarah was reviewing atmospheric readings on her main computer. Luna sat beside her chair, following the scrolling data with obvious interest. When a particular graph appeared showing seasonal temperature variations, Luna suddenly barked and pointed at the screen with one small paw. "What is it, girl?" Sarah leaned forward to study the data more carefully. "Do you recognize something?" Luna made a series of chirps and growls, gesturing frantically at specific data points. Sarah felt her heart race as she realized what she was seeing. The pup wasn't just making random sounds. It was trying to communicate specific information about the climate patterns. "You understand this, don't you?" Sarah whispered in amazement. "Your species has been watching our weather monitoring. You know what these symbols mean?" Over the next few hours, Sarah established a basic communication system with Luna using simple hand signals and voice commands. The pup learned at an incredible rate, mastering dozens of human words within days. More importantly, Luna began sharing knowledge about Kepler 442b that no human had ever suspected. Through patient work with pictures and diagrams, Luna explained that the werewolf packs weren't mindless predators. They were a sophisticated society with complex territorial divisions and seasonal migration patterns. The attacks on human research teams had been defensive responses to settlements built in sacred werewolf lands. "We didn't know," Sarah said, guilt crushing down on her. "We thought you were just animals. We never tried to communicate." Luna's response broke Sarah's heart. Through gestures and simple words she had learned, the pup explained that her pack had tried to communicate with humans. They had left gifts and performed elaborate displays meant to show intelligence and peaceful intent. But human colonists had interpreted these actions as threatening behavior. The worst revelation came when Luna finally explained her injuries. Her pack's alpha had ordered her killed because she had tried to approach human settlements peacefully. In werewolf society, any member who showed sympathy for the invading humans was considered a traitor worthy of death. "They exiled you for wanting peace," Sarah understood, tears streaming down her face. You're just a baby, and they threw you away for being curious about us. Luna pressed close to Sarah's side, offering comfort despite being the one who had suffered. The gesture spoke volumes about the werewolf capacity for empathy and forgiveness. Here was a species capable of profound emotional intelligence, and humanity had written them off as monsters. That night, Sarah made a decision that would change everything. She activated her long-range communication array and sent an emergency message to Colonial Command. But instead of requesting extraction, she transmitted hours of recorded footage showing Luna's intelligence and communication abilities. This is Dr. Sarah Chen at Research Station Alpha. She spoke into the recorder while Luna sat beside her. I am requesting immediate suspension of all colonization activities on Kepler 442b. We have made contact with a sentient species, and they are not hostile. They are simply defending their home. Luna watched the transmission with solemn understanding, somehow knowing that Sarah was risking everything to help her people. The pup placed a small paw on Sarah's hand as she sent the message, a gesture of trust that transcended species barriers. The response from Colonial Command came within days, and it was not what Sarah had hoped for. Her superiors dismissed her claims as stress-induced hallucinations brought on by isolation. They ordered her immediate extraction and announced plans to accelerate the colonization timeline, viewing the werewolf attacks as confirmation that the planet needed to be pacified quickly. They're not going to listen, Sarah told Luna as she read the official response. They're going to send more soldiers and bigger weapons. Your people won't stand a chance. Luna's response surprised her. The young werewolf moved to the communication console and began manipulating the controls with practiced ease, having watched Sarah operate the equipment for weeks. When Sarah tried to stop her, Luna held up a paw in a clear gesture for patience. The pup activated the broad-spectrum transmitter and began making a series of complex vocalizations. The sounds carried for miles across the alien landscape, reaching frequencies that human ears couldn't detect. Within minutes, response calls echoed from the forest, growing closer with each passing moment. You're calling them, Sarah realized. You're bringing your people here. Luna nodded and took Sarah's hand, leading her to the main observation window. In the clearing below, dark shapes began emerging from the tree line. Adult werewolves appeared one by one, their massive forms moving with cautious grace. Sarah counted at least 20 of them, all watching the research station with intelligent golden eyes. The largest werewolf, clearly the pack alpha, stepped forward. It was enormous, standing nearly 9 feet tall with battle scars marking its dark fur. This creature could have torn through the station's defenses in minutes, but it simply sat in the clearing and waited. Luna barked once, a sound full of authority despite her small size. The alpha's ears pricked up, and it responded with a deep rumble that seemed to ask a question. Luna answered with a series of complex vocalizations, gesturing toward the station and toward Sarah. What are you telling them? Sarah asked, though she suspected she already knew. Luna looked up at her with those impossibly intelligent golden eyes and spoke her first complete human sentence. I tell them, you are good human. You save Luna, maybe. You save all of us. Sarah's hands shook as she stared at the assembled werewolf pack through the observation window. 20 pairs of golden eyes watched the research station with patient intelligence, waiting for some sign from their youngest member. The alpha remained motionless, its massive form radiating authority and barely contained power. Luna, Sarah whispered, kneeling beside the pup. Are you sure about this? If I go out there and they don't understand what you've told them? Luna placed a small paw on Sarah's arm, her golden eyes filled with determination beyond her young years. Luna, sure. Pack, listen. Alpha, my father. The revelation hit Sarah like a physical blow. Luna wasn't just any werewolf pup. She was the Alpha's daughter. The realization explained so much about the young werewolf's exile and near-death experience. In trying to make peace with humans, Luna had defied not just pack law but her own father's direct orders. Your father ordered you killed, Sarah said, the pieces falling into place. That's who gave you those claw marks. Luna's ears flattened against her head, but she nodded bravely. Father say Luna betray pack. Say humans bring death to forest. Luna try show him wrong, but father very angry. Send Luna away to die. Sarah felt rage build in her chest, but she forced it down. Human emotions wouldn't help here. She needed to think like a scientist, like a diplomat. But you called him here. Why would he come if he wanted you dead? Because Luna's still alive, Luna explained with simple wisdom that belied her age. Father think Luna dead in forest. Now Luna speak with human voice, call pack in old words. Father know Luna learn new truth. The Alpha's deep rumble reached them through the station's speakers, a sound full of complex meaning that Sarah couldn't interpret. Luna's ears perked up and she responded with her own series of vocalizations. The exchange continued for several minutes, with Luna occasionally pointing toward Sarah or the research station. What is he saying? Sarah asked when the conversation paused. Father ask how Luna live. Ask why human not kill Luna for meat. Luna's translation made Sarah wince. Luna tell father human doctor fix Luna wounds. Give Luna food, warm place to sleep. Teach Luna human words. The Alpha stood and took a step closer to the station. Even through the reinforced walls, Sarah could feel the weight of his presence. This creature was a born leader, carrying himself with the confidence of someone accustomed to absolute authority. When he spoke again, his voice carried a note of challenge. Now he asked why human help enemy. Luna translated. Father say humans take werewolf land, kill werewolf young, burn sacred places. Why should pack trust human who speaks with Luna? Sarah closed her eyes, weighing her words carefully. Everything depended on what she said next. Tell him that not all humans are the same. Tell him I didn't know about the sacred places or the young ones who died. Tell him that some humans can learn and some can change. Luna relayed the message in a series of barks and growls, her young voice carrying across the clearing with surprising authority. The Alpha listened intently, his ears moving to catch every nuance of his daughter's words. When Luna finished, he responded with what sounded like a question. Father asked for proof, Luna said. He want to know what human learned from Luna. What human do with this learning? Sarah took a deep breath and moved to the communication console. Her fingers flew over the controls as she pulled up the detailed reports she had been compiling for weeks. Data about werewolf pack structures, territorial boundaries, seasonal migration patterns, and sacred sites appeared on multiple screens. Show him this, Sarah said, activating the external display screen visible through the window. Show him that I've been learning about your people. Not to hurt them, but to understand them. The Alpha's reaction was immediate and dramatic. He surged forward, stopping just short of the station's outer fence. His massive form tensed as he stared at the scrolling data, golden eyes wide with what could only be shock. He barked sharp questions at Luna, who answered with obvious pride in her voice. Father very surprised. Luna translated excitedly. He asked how human know pack territory lines. How human know about spring gathering places. Luna tell him human doctor very smart. Learn from watching pack move through forest. Sarah activated another display, showing her atmospheric monitoring data overlaid with werewolf migration patterns. The correlation was impossible to ignore. The werewolves moved with the seasonal weather changes, following food sources and avoiding dangerous atmospheric conditions with scientific precision. Your people aren't just intelligent, Sarah called out, knowing the Alpha could hear her through the external speakers. You're natural scientists. You understand this planet better than any human ever could. We need your knowledge to survive here. The Alpha's response was a low rumble that seemed to vibrate through the ground. Luna's ears shot up and she made excited chittering sounds before turning to Sarah with eyes bright with hope. Father say, humans speak truth. Father say werewolf people know Sci-Fi season comes soon. Big storms, poison air, no safe place for human colonies. Luna's excitement was infectious. Father asked if human doctor want to learn more truth. Sarah's heart raced as she realized what was being offered. He wants to teach me? About the planet's weather patterns? More than weather, Luna said solemnly. Father say human colonies built in death places. When Skyfire come, human cities burn, many die. Father offered to show safe places, teach human doctor how to read sky warning signs. The implications hit Sarah like a thunderbolt. The werewolves weren't just defending territory. They were trying to prevent a humanitarian disaster. The areas marked for human colonization were apparently seasonal storm zones that would be uninhabitable during certain weather patterns. The werewolf attacks hadn't been aggression. They had been desperate attempts to drive humans away from danger. They've been trying to save us, Sarah whispered in amazement. All those attacks, all the aggression, they were warning us away from areas that would kill us. Luna nodded vigorously. Luna tried to tell Father humans not understand warnings. Father think humans too stupid to learn. But Luna show Father human doctor very smart, can learn werewolf wisdom. The Alpha stepped closer to the station, his massive form now clearly visible in the exterior lighting. When he spoke again, his voice carried a different tone, still authoritative but no longer threatening. "Father say Luna choose well," the pup translated with obvious pride. "Father say human doctor have good heart like Luna. Father ready to make new speaking between human and werewolf people." Sarah felt tears streaming down her face as the magnitude of the moment struck her. First contact with an alien species, achieved not through military might or scientific superiority, but through the simple human act of showing kindness to a wounded child. "Tell your father," Sarah said, her voice thick with emotion. "Tell him that I am honored by his trust. Tell him I want to learn everything he can teach me, and I want to help prevent any more deaths on both sides." Luna conveyed the message, and the alpha's response made the young werewolf's tail wag furiously. "Father say tomorrow we begin. Father bring pack elders, teach human doctor true knowledge of world. But first," Luna paused, her ears flattening slightly. "Father want to see Luna close. Want to touch daughter he thought was dead." Sarah looked at the massive alpha waiting outside, then at the small werewolf beside her, who had risked everything for the chance at peace between their species. "Go to him, Luna, you've earned this moment." But Luna shook her head, reaching out to take Sarah's hand. "Luna not go alone." Sarah come too. "Luna want father to see human who saved Luna life. Want father to know humans can be pack family too." Sarah's hands trembled as she reached for the airlock controls. Through the observation window, she could see the massive alpha waiting with inhuman patience, his golden eyes fixed on the station entrance. 20 other werewolves stood motionless, behind him forming a living wall of muscle and fangs that could tear her apart in seconds. "Are you absolutely certain about this, Luna?" Sarah asked, her finger hovering over the door release. "If your father changes his mind about me." Luna pressed against Sarah's leg, offering what comfort she could. "Father not hurt Luna, pack sister. Luna tell father Sarah save Luna life. Luna owe life debt to Sarah. In werewolf law, father must honor daughter's debt." The concept of pack sisterhood sent a warm glow through Sarah's chest, despite her terror. In the weeks since finding Luna, she had grown to love the intelligent pup like family. To learn that Luna felt the same way about their bond made facing 20 adult werewolves seem almost worthwhile. Sarah activated the airlock sequence and stepped into the decontamination chamber with Luna at her side. The outer door hissed open, and cold alien air rushed in, carrying the scent of the forest and something else, the musky, wild smell of the werewolf pack. The alpha took a single step forward as they emerged, then froze as his eyes locked onto his daughter. Sarah had expected some kind of reunion, but both werewolves remained perfectly still, studying each other across the small distance that separated them. Luna spoke first, her young voice carrying clearly in the still night air. She used the complex werewolf language, full of nuanced growls and tonal variations that Sarah was only beginning to understand. The alpha listened without interruption, his massive head tilted slightly as he absorbed every word. When Luna finished speaking, the alpha's response was barely above a whisper. Even without understanding the language, Sarah could hear the pain and regret in his voice. His golden eyes, so much like Luna's, glistened with what could only be tears. "Father say he's sorry," Luna translated softly. "He say exile punishment was wrong. He say fear made him weak, made him forget father love stronger than pack law." The alpha took another cautious step forward, then lowered himself to the ground, bringing his massive head down to Luna's level. The gesture was unmistakably submissive, a clear acknowledgement of wrongdoing. Luna approached slowly, her small paw reaching out to touch her father's scarred muzzle. The moment they made contact, the alpha's composure cracked completely. He gathered Luna against his chest with gentle paws, making soft keening sounds that spoke of grief and joy intermingled. Luna buried her face in her father's dark fur, her own cries mixing with his in a harmony that transcended species barriers. Sarah stepped back, giving them space for their reunion, while keeping her hands visible and non-threatening. The other werewolves watched the scene with obvious emotion, several of them making soft, supportive sounds. This was clearly a pack that valued family bonds above all else. After several minutes, the alpha gently released Luna and turned his attention to Sarah. Up close, he was even more imposing than she had imagined. His head was level with her chest, even while he remained lying down, and she could see the intelligence burning in his golden eyes like twin flames. He spoke in careful, halting English, his deep voice struggling with the unfamiliar sounds. "Human doctor, Sarah. Luna speak. True words. About you." Sarah nearly fell over in shock. "You can speak English?" The Alpha's ears twitched in what might have been amusement. "Werewolf, listen. Human words, many seasons. Learn some, for knowing enemy. But never speak, until now." "We're not enemies," Sarah said softly. "We never had to be enemies. Human take. Werewolf land. Human kill. Without reason. Human destroy. Sacred places." The Alpha's English improved with each word, as if the language was returning to him through use. "How can human say? Not enemies?" Sarah took a careful step forward, her hands spread in a gesture of peace. "Because some humans didn't know about the sacred places. Some humans didn't understand that werewolves were intelligent. We made terrible mistakes because we didn't know how to communicate with you." The Alpha studied her face with unnerving intensity. "Luna say, you heal her wounds, give food, warm shelter, teach human words, why help? Enemy child?" "Because she wasn't my enemy," Sarah replied simply. "She was a hurt child who needed help. That's all I could see when I looked at her." Luna chirped something in werewolf language, and the Alpha's expression shifted subtly. He responded to his daughter, then turned back to Sarah with what might have been respect in his eyes. "Luna say, you risk life to help stranger. Luna say, you fight own pack to protect werewolf people from harm." The Alpha's English was becoming more fluent by the moment. "Is this truth?" Sarah nodded, thinking of her confrontation with Colonial Command. "I sent reports to my people, telling them that werewolves are intelligent and peaceful. They didn't believe me. They think I've lost my mind from isolation." The Alpha rose to his full height, and Sarah had to crane her neck to meet his gaze. When he spoke again, his voice carried the full authority of a pack leader. "Human Sarah, you understand. Werewolf people face extinction. Human ships bring weapons, soldiers. Soon human armies come to claim all werewolf lands." The weight of his words hit Sarah like a physical blow. "How many ships? When?" "Luna show you," the Alpha said, gesturing to his daughter. "Luna learn. Human sky pictures. From watching your work, Luna can read. Human war signs." Luna led them to a flat section of ground near the research station and began drawing symbols in the dirt with her claws. Sarah recognized them immediately: orbital approach vectors and landing zone designations. The patterns Luna drew matched classified Colonial Command documents that the pup couldn't possibly have seen. "How does she know this?" Sarah asked in amazement. "Werewolf watch. Human sky metal birds. For many seasons," the Alpha explained. "We learn. To read human signs, we know. Many ships coming, ships with fire weapons and metal soldiers." Sarah studied Luna's dirt drawings with growing horror. The approach patterns indicated a massive military operation, at least 50, ships carrying enough firepower to sterilize the planet's surface. Colonial Command wasn't planning to coexist with the werewolves. They intended to eliminate them entirely. "When?" Sarah whispered. Luna looked up from her drawings, her golden eyes filled with sadness beyond her years. "Human warships come. When small moon reaches. Highest point in sky. Luna count. 7 more sleep times. 1 week." Sarah had 1 week to prevent genocide on a planetary scale. The impossibility of the task threatened to overwhelm her, but Luna's small paw on her hand brought her back to focus. "Sarah pack sister very smart," Luna said confidently. "Sarah find way to stop war. Luna help, father help, all pack help." The Alpha nodded solemnly. "Werewolf people, ready to fight for survival, but Luna say, maybe human Sarah, find better way, find way, where no children die." Sarah looked around at the assembled werewolves, seeing them clearly for the first time. These weren't mindless predators or territorial animals. They were a people facing extinction, looking to a single human scientist for salvation. The responsibility was staggering, but Sarah felt something she hadn't experienced in months. Hope. "I have an idea," she said slowly, her mind racing through possibilities. "But it's dangerous, and it will require perfect trust between human and werewolf. Are you willing to risk everything on the word of one human?" The Alpha's response was immediate and unwavering. "Luna, trust you with her life. Luna, father, trust you with all werewolf lives. We are ready." Sarah spent the next 3 days working around the clock, with Luna and the werewolf pack providing assistance that no human scientist had ever imagined possible. The Alpha brought his most knowledgeable elders to the research station, where they shared centuries of accumulated wisdom about Kepler 442b's weather patterns, geological structure, and ecosystem dynamics. The werewolves' knowledge was staggering in its depth and precision. They could predict atmospheric disturbances weeks in advance, identified mineral deposits with accuracy that rivaled orbital surveys, and understood the planet's seasonal cycles in ways that transformed Sarah's entire understanding of the world. "Your people are natural scientists," Sarah told the Alpha as they reviewed atmospheric data together. "You've been conducting climate research for generations without any instruments except observation and memory." The Alpha's chest swelled with quiet pride. "Werewolf people watch sky and earth since First Pack walked under stars. Knowledge pass from parent to child for 100 generations. Human metal thinking good, but werewolf heart knowing see deeper truths." Luna served as translator during the more complex discussions, her quick mind bridging the gap between human scientific terminology and werewolf conceptual understanding. Sarah marveled at how easily the young werewolf grasped both perspectives, shifting fluidly between languages and thought patterns. "Luna could be a diplomat," Sarah observed during a brief break. "She understands both our species better than anyone." "Luna, special child," the Alpha agreed, his voice filled with paternal affection. "Luna see connections, where others see only differences. Luna born for building bridges between peoples." The plan Sarah developed was audacious in its simplicity. Instead of trying to convince Colonial Command that werewolves were intelligent, she would demonstrate their value as allies through undeniable scientific evidence. The werewolves' environmental knowledge could help human colonists not just survive on Kepler 442b, but thrive in ways that would have been impossible without native guidance. Working together, human technology and werewolf wisdom produced breakthrough discoveries that neither species could have achieved alone. Sarah's atmospheric sensors, guided by werewolf understanding of weather patterns, revealed the exact timing and locations of the devastating storm seasons that had nearly destroyed early colonial attempts. "The werewolves weren't attacking our settlements," Sarah explained into her emergency transmission to Colonial Command. "They were trying to evacuate us from areas that become lethal during storm season. Every aggressive encounter was actually a rescue attempt that we misinterpreted." The werewolf elders shared detailed maps of safe zones, geological stable areas, and seasonal resource locations that would allow human colonies to flourish without competing with werewolf territories. The amount of data they provided represented centuries of careful observation and scientific reasoning. "Look at this mineral survey," Sarah continued her transmission, displaying the results of werewolf-guided exploration. "They've located rare Earth deposits that our orbital scans missed entirely. Mining rights to these deposits alone would pay for the entire colonization effort 10 times over. But the most compelling evidence came when Sarah and Luna worked together to decode the werewolves' sophisticated astronomical observations. The werewolf people had been tracking celestial patterns for generations, predicting everything from seasonal weather changes to optimal planting times with extraordinary accuracy. "They have a complete astronomical calendar that goes back centuries," Sarah reported. "Their predictions about solar flare activity and magnetic field fluctuations are more accurate than our satellite data. This is knowledge that could revolutionize agriculture and weather prediction throughout human space." As the transmission deadline approached, Sarah made her final appeal directly to Admiral Harrison, the fleet commander she knew personally from her academy days. "Marcus, I know how this looks. I know you think I've lost my mind out here, but I'm attaching Luna's linguistic analysis of werewolf language structure, their mathematical concepts, and their scientific methodology. These aren't animals. They're colleagues." The response came faster than Sarah had expected. arriving just 2 days before the colonial fleet was scheduled to enter orbit. Admiral Harrison's face appeared on the communication screen, his expression grim but thoughtful. Dr. Chen, I've reviewed your data with our xenobiology teams. The linguistic analysis is convincing. The scientific knowledge you've documented is unprecedented, but I have orders to secure this planet for human colonization. How do I justify changing our entire mission based on the word of one researcher? Sarah had prepared for this moment. Because I'm not asking you to take my word for it. I'm asking you to take theirs. She gestured to Luna, who stepped into view of the camera with quiet dignity. Luna had been practicing her formal English for days, working with Sarah to prepare for this crucial moment. The young werewolf looked directly into the camera, her golden eyes steady and intelligent as she spoke. Admiral Harrison, Luna began in carefully enunciated English. My name is Luna. I am daughter of the Mountain Pack Alpha. My people have watched your ships in the sky. We know you bring fire weapons and metal soldiers to take our world. The Admiral's eyes widened as he processed what he was seeing. Luna continued speaking, her young voice carrying surprising authority. My people not want war with humans. War brings death to children on both sides. Luna know this truth because Luna nearly died when Pack tried to stop human settlements in death places. Sarah watched the Admiral's face carefully, seeing the exact moment when professional skepticism gave way to wonder. Luna's intelligence was undeniable, her emotional sincerity impossible to fake. We offer exchange of knowledge, Luna continued. Werewolf people teach humans how to live safe on our world. Humans teach werewolf people about star roads and sky metal. Together both peoples grow strong. The Alpha appeared beside Luna, his massive form filling the camera frame. He spoke in his careful English, each word weighted with the authority of leadership. Human Admiral, werewolf people offer alliance between stars-walking peoples. We share knowledge. You share technology. No war needed. Admiral Harrison leaned forward, his military bearing shifting into something more resembling diplomatic curiosity. And if I agree to negotiations instead of occupation? What guarantees do I have that your people won't attack human settlements? The Alpha's response revealed the depth of werewolf strategic thinking. Human settlements, built in wrong places. Death storms come, kill many humans. Werewolf people, guide humans to safe places, show good land for human cities. In return, humans share metalworking and star knowledge. Luna added her own persuasive argument. Luna show Admiral Harrison, werewolf weather knowing. She moved to Sarah's computer terminal and pulled up atmospheric projection models that combined human sensor data with werewolf predictive knowledge. See how werewolf knowing makes human metal thinking more strong. The projections were devastating in their implications. Every proposed colonial site would be uninhabitable during the planet's storm seasons, with atmospheric conditions that would prove lethal to human life. But the werewolf-guided alternative locations offered perfect safety, abundant resources, and access to previously unknown mineral deposits. My God, Admiral Harrison breathed, studying the data. You're saying we would have killed thousands of colonists by settling in those storm zones? Werewolf people try to warn, the Alpha explained sadly. Human soldiers think werewolf attacks mean territory fighting, but werewolf try to push humans to safe places, save human lives. Sarah stepped back into camera range, her voice tight with emotion. Marcus, they've been trying to save us from the beginning. Every attack, every aggressive encounter. It was disaster prevention that we misunderstood as warfare. The Admiral was quiet for long moments, his weathered face reflecting the weight of command decisions. When he spoke again, his voice carried a different tone entirely. Dr. Chen, I need to speak directly with the werewolf leadership. Can you arrange formal communications? The Alpha nodded solemnly. Werewolf Council of Elders, ready to speak with Human Fleet Commander. We discuss terms of alliance. Make agreement that protects both peoples. Luna helped translate. The young werewolf added with obvious pride. Luna speak both languages. Understand both peoples. Luna makes sure no misunderstanding between allies. Admiral Harrison's smile was the first genuine expression Sarah had seen from him in years. Then let's make history, Dr. Chen. Set up formal first contact protocols. And Luna, he addressed the young werewolf directly. Thank you for having the courage to trust humans. You may have just prevented a war that would have destroyed both our peoples. Luna's tail wagged slightly, a gesture that somehow transcended species barriers to convey pure joy. Luna happy to serve both packs. Luna always know. Humans and werewolves better together than apart. As the communication link closed, Sarah felt a weight lift from her shoulders that she hadn't realized she'd been carrying. The impossible had happened. First contact had been achieved not through military might or technological superiority, but through the simple human act of showing kindness to a child in need. The Alpha placed a massive paw on Sarah's shoulder, his touch gentle despite his incredible strength. Human Sarah, you saved both peoples. Werewolf children will sing songs of human doctor who chose compassion over fear. Sarah looked down at Luna, who was practically vibrating with excitement at the success of their diplomatic mission. We all saved each other, she corrected gently. That's what families do. The word family seemed to resonate through the assembled werewolves, sparking a chorus of approving sounds that spoke of acceptance and belonging. Sarah realized that somewhere in the past weeks, she had stopped thinking of herself as a human among aliens. She had become part of something larger, a bridge between worlds, a member of an unprecedented interspecies family. 2 years later, Sarah stood on the observation deck of New Harmony, the first joint human-werewolf settlement on Kepler 442b. The city sprawled below her in a pattern that defied traditional human-urban planning, following the natural contours of the landscape in ways that werewolf wisdom had guided from the very beginning. Human engineering and werewolf environmental knowledge had created something unprecedented. A city that worked with the planet rather than against it. Storm shelters were built into natural cave systems that werewolves had used for centuries. Agricultural zones followed seasonal migration patterns that maximized crop yields while respecting wildlife corridors. Luna appeared beside her on the observation platform, no longer the wounded pup Sarah had found that night, but a confident young adult werewolf serving as the chief translator and diplomatic liaison between species. Her silver fur had grown thick and lustrous, and she carried herself with the poise of someone comfortable in both human and werewolf societies. The new colonist ship arrives tomorrow, Luna reported in fluent English, her accent carrying hints of both human and werewolf vocal patterns. 3,000 more humans ready to start new lives in partnership with werewolf people. Sarah smiled, watching human children play alongside werewolf cubs in the parks below. The sight still amazed her. 2 species that had nearly gone to war now raising their young together in harmony. Any problems with integration? Some challenges, Luna admitted honestly. Elder Greyfoot still thinks humans build too many metal structures. And Dr. Martinez argues with the weather seers about storm predictions. But these are growing pains, not real conflicts. The integration hadn't been without difficulties. Some werewolves remained suspicious of human technology, while certain human colonists struggled to accept werewolf spiritual beliefs about the planet's natural rhythms. But the benefits of cooperation far outweighed the cultural friction. Human technology had revolutionized werewolf life in positive ways. Medical care had virtually eliminated infant mortality among werewolf pups. Communication devices allowed pack coordination across vast distances. And educational exchanges had produced a generation of werewolf scholars who understood advanced mathematics and engineering principles. In return, werewolf knowledge had transformed human colonial success rates. Settlements guided by werewolf environmental wisdom thrived where previous human colonies had failed. Agricultural yields increased dramatically when human farming techniques were combined with werewolf understanding of soil cycles and plant genetics. Have you heard from Admiral Harrison? Sarah asked. The fleet commander had become an unexpected advocate for the human-werewolf alliance, using his influence to promote cooperation throughout the colonial administration. He sends his compliments, Luna replied with obvious fondness for the gruff military officer who had become like an uncle to her. His new assignment is establishing similar partnerships with other intelligent species throughout the sector. He says Luna taught him that the universe is full of potential allies, not just enemies. Sarah felt a surge of pride at how far they'd all come. The scared, wounded pup she'd rescued had grown into a diplomat whose work was reshaping interspecies relations across human space. Luna's natural gift for languages and cultural understanding had made her invaluable in establishing communication protocols with newly discovered alien species. A soft chime from Sarah's communicator interrupted her thoughts. Dr. Chen, this is Control. The Alpha is requesting a meeting with you and Luna in the council chamber. He says it's regarding the Andorian contact situation. Sarah and Luna exchange glances. The Andorians were a crystalline species recently encountered by human exploration teams, and communication attempts had been unsuccessful. If the Alpha was calling an emergency session, it meant the situation had become critical. They made their way through the city streets, noting how naturally human and werewolf architecture had merged. Buildings incorporated both species' aesthetic sensibilities, with human clean lines softened by werewolf organic curves. Gardens followed werewolf principles of harmony with natural growth patterns, while incorporating human agricultural efficiency. The council chamber represented the pinnacle of interspecies cooperation. The circular room accommodated both human seating preferences and werewolf comfort requirements, with technological interfaces that both species could operate intuitively. Around the curved walls, holographic displays showed data from across human space, monitoring diplomatic situations and colonial development. The Alpha waited at the center of the chamber, his once dark fur now streaked with silver that spoke of wisdom and experience rather than age. Beside him stood Dr. Elena Vasquez, the Human Diplomatic Corps representative, her expression troubled. Sarah, Luna, thank you for coming quickly, the Alpha said, his English now fluent after years of practice. We have received troubling reports from the Andorian First Contact Team. Communication attempts have failed completely, and tensions are escalating toward potential violence. Dr. Vasquez activated the central display, showing footage from the contact site. The Andorians appeared as living crystal formations, beautiful but utterly alien in their movements and behavior. Human diplomats struggled to establish any form of meaningful communication, while the Andorians responded with increasingly agitated displays of light and resonance. They're trying everything in the standard protocol, Dr. Vasquez explained. Mathematical concepts, pictographic displays, even musical communication attempts. Nothing is working, and the Andorians are becoming more aggressive with each failed attempt. Luna studied the footage with intense concentration, her ears moving as she analyzed the Andorian light patterns and harmonic frequencies. They are not aggressive, she said suddenly. They are, how do humans say, frustrated, like Luna was before learning human words. What do you mean? Sarah asked, recognizing the tone Luna used when she was processing complex interspecies concepts. Humans try to communicate with Andorians using human concepts, Luna explained patiently. But Andorians not think like humans or werewolves. They think in crystal harmony, light song meaning, human words too, solid for crystal people. The Alpha nodded approvingly at his daughter's analysis. Luna sees with bridge mind. Perhaps Luna can find new way to speak with crystal people. Sarah felt the familiar excitement of scientific breakthrough combined with diplomatic possibility. Luna, are you saying you think you can communicate with them? Not Luna alone, the young werewolf replied thoughtfully. But Luna with human technology and werewolf feeling. Maybe find way to speak crystal language. Dr. Vasquez leaned forward eagerly. What would you need? Luna's response demonstrated how completely she had mastered both technological and intuitive approaches to communication. Need harmonic analysis equipment, need light frequency modulators, and need time to understand crystal people patterns. Within hours, they were aboard a fast courier ship, heading for the Andorian contact site. Luna spent the journey analyzing every piece of recorded Andorian behavior, her hybrid perspective allowing her to see patterns that purely human or werewolf observers had missed. Andorians communicate through harmonic resonance, she explained to Sarah as they reviewed the data, but not like werewolf sound speech or human word meaning. They speak in emotional crystal song. Each color pattern carries feeling concepts that build into complex ideas. Sarah marveled once again at Luna's unique ability to bridge conceptual gaps between species. The young werewolf's mind worked in ways that transcended normal linguistic boundaries, finding connections that formal diplomatic protocols couldn't achieve. When they reached the contact site, the situation had deteriorated to the brink of violence. Andorian crystal formations pulsed with angry red light, while human security teams maintained defensive positions around the diplomatic compound. Luna approached the situation with characteristic directness. Instead of trying to modify human communication methods, she created something entirely new, an harmonic light display that combined human technology with werewolf. emotional intuition to produce a form of communication the Andorians could understand. The first successful exchange was simple but profound. Luna's device produced a gentle blue-green light pattern, accompanied by soft harmonic tones that conveyed the basic concept of peaceful greeting. The Andorian response was immediate, a cascade of crystalline chimes and rainbow light that clearly expressed joy and relief. They thought we were trying to dominate them, Luna translated as the conversation continued.